to the media and Hollywood, it's a giant fix. It's all rigged. You think that like the elections just happen or politics just happens. It's all people in the FBI. It's all people in the media. It's all people everywhere and anywhere. People have this idea that institutions are impersonal and that how can an entire country be rigged in a certain way? Well, I mean, what is the country? What are these institutions? Well, it's made up of people just like you and me, in every way, just as subject to appetites and imperfections and the proclivity to become corrupt, if they're paid off or whatever, but to collude, to conspire. So some people, I don't know what it is. They think that all conspiracy theories necessarily are not true. It's just people. Of course, people with almost limitless power can work together, and probably they do. Anyway, but we'll get into some of this. There's just a brief summary about Ukraine and China that Gateway Pundit talks about. It says, quote, around the time the FBI opened its investigation into Hunter Biden and his associates, Rudy Giuliani dropped a bombshell revealing a huge money laundering operation involving the Bidens and Burisma Holdings. Giuliani described how Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor general investigating Burisma, discovered Hunter's money laundering scheme. He said, quote, all of a sudden, Shokin gets this communique from Latvia that shows a $16 million laundering transaction, classic laundering transaction. It goes from Ukraine to Latvia. It's disguised as a loan to another company, to WireLogic, I believe. It then goes to Cyprus, gets disguised as another loan. This is called Digitech. Then it's dispersed as payment as board fees. He said, now you don't make two loans to make board fees unless you're laundering the money. $3 million gets to Hunter Biden in that way. That is a straight out violation of a money laundering statute. So you've got money laundering happening with Ukraine. And then there's a section here about China. It says emails released by Hunter associated whistleblower Tony Bobulinski revealed a shady interest-free loan given to Hunter Biden from a Chinese energy firm. On August 8th, 2017, $5 million was wired from a CEFC affiliated investment vehicle to the bank account for Hudson West III, which spent the next year transferring $4.79 million directly to Hunter Biden's firm, Owasco, according to Senate documents. Senate investigators described how the Chinese state-owned energy company wired the $5 million loan to Hunter's firm through an investment vehicle to the bank account for Hudson West III, which then dispersed the money to Hunter's firm. Quote, on August 8, 2017, CEFC Infrastructure Investment wired $5 million to the bank account for Hudson West III. These funds may have originated from a loan issued from the account of a company called Northern International Capital Holdings, a Hong Kong-based investment company identified at one time as a substantial shareholder in CEFC International Limited. It is unclear whether Hunter Biden was half owner of Hudson West III at that time. However, starting on August 3rd, the same day that the $5 million was received, and continuing through September 25th, 2018, Hudson West III sent frequent payments to Owasco, which is Hunter Biden's firm. These payments, which were described as consulting fees, reached $4.79 million in just over a year. So this is a lot of technical stuff. It's a lot of details, but it's money laundering. It's a lot of conspicuous financial activity where you see these sums. All these companies and associated companies and bank accounts are moving money around. $5 million goes in. Eventually, $4.79 million goes out to Hunter Biden. And it's all through companies within companies, bank accounts that are co-owned and whatever. But this is classic stuff. This is just how it works. You've got somebody that's the vice president. These foreign companies with less oversight are doing favors for the vice president to get some kind of benefit. And how does that materialize? It materializes into the financial benefit, right? Financial gain for family members, cronies of a politician. This is what politics is, quid pro quo. And that's what's happening in China. That's what's happening in Ukraine. And this is what happens with every president in every administration, I'm sure, on every level. And we can see this. Now we just simply know that the FBI takes it seriously. And what this means is that if the FBI takes it seriously, then everyone else now has permission to take it seriously. Now all of the fact checkers, like Joe Rogan and everybody else, that want to see a source on that. Okay, well, finally, here's your source. No, really? I thought politicians were never corrupt. I thought that politicians were never pedophiles. But now that I have the FBI confirming it, well, now I can believe it. Oh, well, wait a second. What did factcheck.org say? How many Pinocchios does that claim have? Because otherwise, I don't know that corruption is happening unless somebody gives it, what's the opposite of a Pinocchio? Thumbs up? Well, if it doesn't get 4 thumbs up from, fag.com, well, I don't know. I think these politicians could be completely not corrupt and certainly never pedophiles. Certainly never devil worshippers, right? Wait a second, Nick. You're telling me that the media is run by Jews? Wait a second, that got 4 Pinocchios. I don't believe it. Well, NPR says it's not true, so you look like a real idiot, don't you? You don't even have any sources on your side. You don't even have any facts. I mean, but this is how it goes. So now we know. Now we know. The FBI says so. Here's your source, bitch. And now, hey, the media can report on it, and now everyone can be convinced, yes, Joe Biden is corrupt. Somebody with a net worth, which is what, I think over $100 million. I mean, he's got millions and millions of dollars working in politics where you don't make hardly any money, certainly not money like that. Now we know that maybe there was some impropriety going on there. A guy who's been in politics for half a century, now we know he was corrupt. I'm glad we went through all the tedium. It is important to demonstrate. The facts are important because the facts are on our side. I am annoyed by it because on some level, I feel like if you just have a certain IQ or a certain amount of wisdom, you can just kind of understand these things. It's just common sense. I shouldn't be that way because, look, the facts are on our side. The facts are always on our side. The facts are on our side with science. The facts are on our side with statistics. The facts are on our side with things like this. I am just maybe a little bit intellectually lazy. I don't care to go through all the details and memorize the details. I am content with saying I just simply know, through intuition and through what I've seen over the years that they're corrupt. It is important, though, to have a paper trail because what we're saying on the show is fact. I do a lot of hyperbole and exaggeration and it's home base here. It's on our home turf. So I could get away with saying certain things and people agree with me. But it is important to be able to have that paper trail and justify that, look, in the broad strokes, aside from the jokes and exaggeration, everything that we say and everything that we believe is backed in every way. It's backed historically, statistically, scientifically, in every way. I mean, we've got the facts on our side. And it's important to show things like this. And it's important when the media is covering it up to show people, I mean, look, the person that's running from the Democrat side, if you're totally undecided, totally ignorant, they're criminals. And I'm not saying that because I'm a partisan, and some centrist might say, oh, well, they're all criminals. And I would say that's true, except for Trump on some level. But then you could say, well, look, I mean, here's the evidence. It's all right here. And this is sick stuff. And this is not somebody who has our best interests in mind. Versus Trump, where they combed through everything he's ever done and they were ready to throw the book at him and they couldn't find anything. I mean, there's your paper trail. There's your fact check. So to me, the bigger deal is the media doesn't cover this stuff. It's all factual. It's all verified. It's all there. But the FBI is not going to come out and tell you that it's happening until a week before the election. And the media just never talks about it, which kind of proves something else that's going on, which is the corruption is everywhere. But that's Hunter Biden. Those are your details. That is your lengthy tedium that you demanded from me, that everybody wanted so badly to hear. Oh, well, here's how I'm going to prove. I'm going to prove it once and for all that politicians are corrupt. Well, we really did it. So that's that. But we're going to move on and take a look at our super chats. I want to see what I really do. Man, I'm so interested to hear what you